My name's Simon Billenness. I'm Executive Director of the US Campaign for Burma. I'd like to thank you all for coming out here tonight. I've been here so many times outside the Burmese embassy, and it's really important that we show our support and show our power. I know one thing we've got to make very clear here is that it's the Burmese military regime that's been using and stoking prejudice against Muslims and Rohingya in Burma. It's the Burmese regime that revoked the citizenship and even identification of the ethnic Rohingya. It's the Burmese regime that's been using this policy of ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya and forcing them out of the country. And they've been doing that to try and get some semblance of popular support in this election. They've been using this, they've been encouraging and stoking the Mabatha to try and get some semblance of popular support, which seems to be eluding them at present, which is terrific. But we've got to keep focused. We've got to make sure that the regime and the military, which has, through the constitution that it wrote, keeps 25% of the seats in parliament appointed by the military, occupied by military officers. We've got an army in Burma that appoints its own minister, the Minister of Defense, the Home Affairs Minister. These are appointed by the head of the army. They're not appointed by the president. So we've got to keep focused on the regime, keeping pressure on the regime, keeping pressure particularly on the Burmese military, not to continue to use prejudice and repression and persecution of the Rohingya and Muslims and others and other ethnic minorities in Burma to try and maintain a hold on power and to try and blunt the support that there is inside Burma for the democracy movement and for a real democracy and for real human rights. So I'd like to thank you all for coming out here. I'd like to thank you all for keeping pressure on the Burmese regime, but also I'd like to thank you all for keeping pressure on the US government to keep its pressure on the regime and to use the powers that the US government has to sanction those responsible for repression and ethnic cleansing in Burma, and to keep the pressure on the regime in the post-election period is going to be one of the most crucial periods in Burmese history. And we've got to keep its vigilance. We've got to make sure the US government keeps the pressure on the regime and other governments keep pressure on the regime to make sure that there is a real transfer of power, and to make sure that the regime, again, doesn't use prejudice and use hatred and to try and bolster up its power as it starts to lose it. So thank you for your time, and I thank you for your pressure, and I thank you for keeping your eyes on Burma at this important time. Thank you.